I have two true gaming loves, D&D and Pokemon. I've been playing these games ever since I was a kid, and I would spend hours watching the TV show, collecting trading cards, and trying to beat the Elite Four with one over-leveled powerhouse rather than a balanced team, because grinding is for nerds. Now that I'm older and slightly smarter, I understand the games a lot better, including the fact that each Pokemon has an ability, which gives it some sort of effect or boost that, when used strategically, can turn the tide of battle. Not unlike Feats in D&D, which lets your character unlock all sorts of helpful buffs. So today, I'm combining my two favorite franchises into one by turning Pokemon abilities into feats you can use in your games. Are these balanced? Who knows? Which is why I'd love to hear what you think in the comments. I put these together on a whim, so I bet you all could take them and tweak them to make them even better. Without further ado, here's what I've got. Let's start with the starters. At the beginning of each game, you choose one of 3 Pokemon to be your partner, picking between a fire, water, and grass type. And no matter what, they will start with one of 3 abilities: Blaze, Torrent, and Overgrow. Each does basically the same thing. When their HP gets low, it powers up moves of their signature type, giving them a chance to mount a comeback. For D&D, I wouldn't say your PC has a type exactly, though classes come close, but we can make it work. When bloodied, you can roll an extra damage die, a d4, of your chosen type. Either fire damage for Blaze, cold damage for Torrent, or, slashing damage for Overgrow, like getting slashed by vines. Grass type is tough. A d4 might not sound like much, but over the course of a campaign, you're going to be at less than half HP a lot, and those dice will add up. You also get to resist that same damage type once your health dips, so even if you're fighting fire elementals, your feat won't go to waste just because they're immune to your extra damage. Not bad for a starter ability. Switching in and out is a big part of Pokemon battles, as you try to strategically maneuver around your opponent's own subs. Regenerator plays on that aspect of the game, giving Pokemon like Slowbro a health boost whenever they come out of battle. In D&D, you don't really exit combat until it's fully over. I challenge you to find a party who'll run in the face of danger, so instead, our version will focus on the regenerating part. While in combat, you heal a d4 worth of hit points every turn, and outside of combat, you double the result of any hit die rolled on a short rest. Perfect for fighters, barbarians, and other frontliners who need to stay healthy and can't retreat to a Pokeball every few turns. Lots of attacks in Pokemon have secondary effects, like burning the opponent or potentially boosting one of your own stats. But what if you want to forego all that to just deal some extra damage? Well, you can, if that Pokemon has the Sheer Force ability, which ignores any other effects to instead hit harder. Does Kingler look like it cares about strategy? No, it only cares about big claws, big hits, and big damage. And I think this would also be really cool for magic users. Whenever you cast a spell that has an effect in addition to damage, you can negate those other benefits to deal an extra damage die, like a free up cast when you're really desperate to take out an enemy. Or you could ignore those other effects to instead bypass an enemy's resistance or immunity to your spell's damage type. So maybe Kingler doesn't care about strategy, but your wizard probably does. One thing that both D&D and Pokemon have in common is the status condition Paralyzed. In Pokemon, it cuts your speed, meaning your chosen fighter is more likely to go second, and there's the very annoying chance that instead of attacking, they'll just do nothing that turn. So when Pokemon like Persian get the Limber ability, it prevents them from ever being paralyzed. It saves you some headaches. Paralysis isn't nearly as common in D&D, so let's buff this one a bit. If your PC takes this feat, they become immune to not just being paralyzed, but restrained and grappled as well. You can also give them advantage on dexterity saving throws. Is that too much? Maybe, but does this guy look like they ever fail a dex save? Yes, actually, very much so. Let's stick with paralysis for now. Pikachu is my favorite Pokemon. Yes, I know that's lame, so I had to include it in my list. It gets the ability Static, which means that whenever an opponent hits it with a physical attack, there's a chance they end up paralyzed. To replicate this for D&D, when you're hit with a melee attack, you can force that enemy to make a con save, with a DC of 8, plus your own Constitution modifier, and proficiency. If they fail, they're paralyzed, and can repeat that save at the end of each turn. However, you can only do this once per rest. Sorry Pikachu, but that would be way too busted for D&D if you could do it on every hit. So let's toss in immunity to paralysis as well, to give it a little something extra. Much like paralysis, sleep is something that comes up in Pokemon a lot more than D&D. It keeps you from doing anything on your turn, and in most cases, the amount of time you're put to bed is random. Could be 1 turn, could be 2, maybe 3, who's to say? To counter this incredibly annoying effect, some Pokemon get the ability Insomnia, which, as you might have guessed, keeps them from falling asleep. Simple. For our feat, let's change this up a bit. We'll keep that your PC can no longer be magically put to sleep, but let's add a few more goodies. They can also gain the benefits of a long rest in just 2 hours, not 8. And whenever they take a short rest, they can re-roll any 1s or 2s they get while healing up with hit die. Looks like they won't be feeling very drowsy anymore. That's this guy. Usually, getting a status condition in Pokemon can be a huge setback. See several of the abilities mentioned previously. But some of these little freaks welcome it. If they have the ability Guts, their attack stat gets boosted whenever they're poisoned, burned, or have some other status affecting them. They'll still have to deal with the other drawbacks that come with it. Yes, Ursaring might be stronger, but it's still on fire, so you'll have to play around those other effects. Let's do something similar for D&D. If your PC is frightened, poisoned, or restrained, it'll still have to deal with all the bad parts of those conditions, but will also have advantage on any attack rolls they make, instead of disadvantage. So sure, go ahead and poison the barbarian. It's your funeral. Intimidate is one of the most iconic abilities in the game, a staple of the competitive scene. Whenever a Pokemon with it gets switched into a battle, the opponent or opponents all have their attack lowered, crucial for slowing down whatever big, powerful Pokemon the other trainer has with them. Intimidation is of course a skill in D&D, so this one's easy. You gain either proficiency or expertise in Intimidation, can't be frightened yourself, and can use your Strength modifier instead of Charisma whenever making the check. Which, yes, your DM can already allow, but let's be real, how many people use that rule? Yeah, that's what I thought. Cud Chew is one of the weirder sounding abilities, but also one of the more unique. In battle, your Pokemon can hold and eat berries, which might boost their stats or heal some damage. When they have Cud Chew, like Farigiraf, they get that same effect again at the end of their next turn. So in essence, you're healing double the damage, or shooting one of your stats to the moon. D&D might not have many berries, besides good berries I guess, but there are plenty of consumable items. So for this one, we really don't need to change much. When you use a consumable, instead of it going away, you can get a second use out of it later. Is there probably some sort of item that this would be completely broken with? Yeah, for sure. Would I love to hear what that is in the comments? Yes I would. There's a lot of random chance in any Pokemon battle, and maybe nothing personifies that more than multi-strike moves. They're a little weaker, but in return, most can hit anywhere from 2 to 5 times, and it's totally up to luck. However, you can game that if your Pokemon has Skill Link, which causes those moves to always hit the max number of times. So your Ambipom can use Double Slap to smack around their opponent 5 times, which does beg the question, why is the move called Double Slap if it can hit way more times, but whatever. D&D doesn't really work that way, so instead, let's focus on attacks made against a single target. After you hit an enemy once, any subsequent attack you make against them that same turn get the +2 bonus, and we'll add in some defensive prowess too. If an enemy makes more than one attack against you on the same turn, any after the first get a -2 penalty. Similar enough in spirit, though I'd still love an explanation for the whole double slap thing. What are we doing here, Game Freak? Super Luck increases your chances of getting a critical hit, which, just like in D&D, boosts how much damage you deal. Now, I would argue that, despite getting this ability, Togepi looks like maybe the unluckiest Pokemon ever. It's literally yolk spilling out of a cracked egg, but who am I to judge? For D&D, we'll also increase the crit range. Instead of only getting that sweet bonus damage on a 20, you can crit on a 19 too. And when you do, you deal an extra damage die. Combined with something like Elven Accuracy, those crit fishing builds are about to go crazy. But what about when you get crit? Is there an ability for that too? Of course, I wouldn't be saying this otherwise. Some critters, like Primeape, have the Anger Point ability, which maxes out their attack stat anytime your opponent gets a little lucky with a critical hit. To turn that into a feat, whenever the enemy gets your PC for a natural 20, you get advantage on all of your attacks next turn, and deal an extra damage die. I mean, this sounds perfect for a Raging Barbarian, which is definitely what class Primeape would be. You know what sucks even more than getting crit though? Getting knocked out completely. But for some Pokemon, they still get the last laugh. If they have the Aftermath ability, then anytime an opponent reduces them to 0 HP with a contact move, your Fallen Mon dishes some back, equal to 1/4 of the opponent's total health. This is the face of vengeance, and you will know it well. Our feat will similarly activate when your PC gets dropped to 0. When they go down, they deal psychic damage to the enemy that took them out, equal to their level, plus their wisdom or intelligence modifier, their choice. And while down, they automatically deal that same damage to any enemy that starts their turn within 10 feet of their unconscious body. They may be down, but they aren't out yet. This last one is a joke, but hear me out. Some Pokemon can go beyond their final evolution, unlocking even more strengths and potential with Mega Evolution. One of those critters is Kangaskhan, who then gets the ability Parental Bond. Its baby literally comes out of its pouch and starts attacking the opponent, meaning every attack lands twice instead of once. That's pretty busted. So how would I implement this for D&D? Simple. When you take this feat, anytime you make an attack, all of your adopted NPCs can attack too. Jimmy the Goblin, get in there. Billy the Bullywug, have at him. Your Squire Brickley, go get him, kid. Would this make any sense at all? No. Would it be very funny? I think so. Those are my picks for which Pokemon abilities would make great D&D feats, but there are tons of abilities out there. I mean, there's like 1,000 Pokemon now, so you know the list is long. I'd love to hear what other abilities you'd bring to D&D, or how you'd make any of the ones I came up with even better in the comments. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, leaving a like is always appreciated. If you want to see even more, you should subscribe to the Bards College. I make videos all about D&D, DMing, and everything in between, so stick around. But for now, good luck, and remember, crit your players.